My name is Dr. Venus Wilder, and I am a family physician. I am originally from South Florida, Plantation, Florida, which is right outside of Fort Lauderdale. And I attended HMS from 2006 to 2010. I was a part of the Peabody Society, and I decided when I was in medical school, I going into medical school, I always wanted to be able to take care of anyone who came to me in my community. That was really important to me, from children to older folks to pregnant women, etc. I wanted to be able to have the tools, or at least the expertise and knowledge, to direct people to get the care that they needed. And that was something that really drove me through medical school, which is how I found family medicine. And currently, I am back in South Florida after a long stint in New York City. But around 2 years ago, I came back home to South Florida, and I work currently as a family physician and a medical director of a large primary care practice here in Fort Lauderdale. So I run two offices, see patients, and really just try to improve the health of the population. Physician advocate is using my platform as a physician, and the knowledge base, the education, the ability for people to listen to me, based on, I guess, status, because being a physician in this society, I think, is very highly regarded, and people put a lot of trust in our role. And so I try to use that to really listen to people, and to also use the information that I'm gathering in order to help communicate to those in even more positions of power than me, to create solutions and come with the community, the patients, the systems that are in place in order to provide solutions that can improve the population and people's health. So I see that as a physician. I'm also a singer, and through my artistry as well, I've been using advocacy around voting and social justice and equity. I think that that's very important in order to just get people to be more aware and care. Yes, that's a great question. I think it allows me to exercise like different parts of my brain, um, with the advocacy as like the thing that connects it all. I think it's about like connective creation, because even when people come to me, I feel as if I know the science and I have the foundation, but it's really about listening and getting the rhythm of that person, understanding like what is important to them, connecting with them, and like energetically, which I feel like you can do as a physician but also do as an artist, when you're connected to music, connecting to words, connecting to a vibe, um, and then using that in order to communicate effectively. So yes, I guess so. It has always just been a part of who I am and my mission, for being on this earth, I feel. And even as I choose my places where I work, it has been important for me to become a part of a company or organization that really values community health and population health. I can say that all of my jobs have been in organizations that have valued that, from the medical school that I chose to the residency program that I chose. I went to Columbia, New York Presbyterian Hospital in New York City, and it had a huge community health focus. We did a lot of work in Washington Heights. I was very involved in community-based organizations there. And then when I left there, I worked for two different FQHCs in New York City, and very entrenched in the community and the work that needed to be done there outside of the physician walls or the doctor's rooms, but really thinking about like social determinants of health and how we can improve that, how we can work with the population or the public health departments and improve what's going on in the community in order to promote wellness. Then for a period of time, I went and worked at a startup that was really about connecting the different systems the health insurance system, labs, health care delivery, designing that system, designing an electronic medical record so that everything is concise and in one place. That was pretty cool. And then now I'm at a place that in South Florida is called Sanitas Medical Center. And the goal of Sanitas is actually an international company, but just in the last 5 years has really taken off in the U.S. and particularly in South Florida. And the goal with this company is really around Latino health. And minority communities in general, but Latino in particular. And my experience working in New York City and Washington Heights and learning my Spanish there has helped me to be a good advocate for Latina patients in South Florida. The fact that I try to, I'm intermediate speaker, but I try to understand a language, like I can communicate, I listen. I have also like a large African American population, Caribbean American population, Vietnamese population. So just being able to work with different people and understand has just made me, I feel, become an advocate by nature of who I am and what I do on a daily basis. While I was in Harlem, when I was in New York City, I did a lot of work with some of the community-based organizations there. So working directly with them and understanding what their needs were, becoming a part of the board for one of the organizations for a couple of years was very helpful. And then I also, while I was in Harlem, started a organization called Harlem Docs. So I noticed that there were a lot of doctors and health professionals that I was interacting with in the community one on one, but there wasn't really a network um, of health professionals that could really come together and advocate for population health or policies or utilize a collective voice in order to affect change. So I founded that organization about 5 or 6 years ago. It's still going on, even though I've left, which is really great. And continues to, especially during COVID, like come together, really advocate for vaccines in the community and testing, et cetera. So that feels really great that that's a legacy that continues. While I was in New York as well, I was very involved in the New York State Academy of Family Physicians. So being involved in like the policy arm of that, attending the meetings, being a part of the public health committee. And then in general, I was really involved in the national AAFP with a lot of their special constituency groups, et cetera. Now in Florida, I've just come to Florida and instead of jumping right in, I feel like I have been, well, my music, I've been doing a lot with my music. So that's been more of my focus and my advocacy there. But I feel like it's important to learn a community. I'm from here, but I've been gone for a really long time since I left for college. And so now that I'm coming back, I feel like it is important to kind of settle in, like listen, see what the needs are, and then be able to pick up the torch and help. I got appointed as the medical director that's responsible for leading community-based social prescription programs. So basically connecting our patients to community resources so that it can improve their health. In particular, we're focused around loneliness because we've identified many of our seniors, especially during COVID, have become very socially isolated. And our goal is to get people to become connected again, and that can improve people's, their feeling, their emotion, their health in general. So we have been partnering with a lot of community organizations. We created a volunteer program to have patients and employees share their different loves. Karaoke. I'm supposed to lead one of those. Um, there's many like game night. They're doing this on Zoom, and the goal is that once everyone's vaccinated and life kind of returns more to us being more in person, that we can bring people into some of our spaces and come together again in person. We work really hard. I think to get to the point. But I feel like the thing that drove me, as I mentioned before, is being a leader and being someone who not just has the knowledge here, because I'm learning stuff every day and we all are, but also like the compassion and the heart here. That's really important. And and people really, when you say doctor, when I say Dr. Wilder, I introduce myself as that. That really means a lot. You know, people already are like all ears, like, oh, what is she? She's a doctor. Oh, what does she need? What is she discussing? And I feel like it's important to utilize my voice in a way that is impactful, that is beyond me and beyond like my ego or like, the little bit tad of facts or medical knowledge that I think I have at that time. I think is really to be a listening ear, for the community and a megaphone, for advocacy and the issues that people feel are important and that we need to be creative in coming up with solutions. Oh, it has been great returning home. It has been great. It has been, um, seeing my family, seeing my patients like in the places where, I grew up is it's really beautiful. Seeing people like taking care of people that I've known and that feel comfortable like coming to me or coming to my office feels really great. I love that. I also felt like Harlem. I was there for a long time, so I felt like that was really amazing as well to be in that environment, because it's so close. Like it's New York City, but then Harlem is like a little enclave on its own. And just to see it kind of became like in the time that I was there, it felt like there was like a new renaissance, a new Harlem renaissance that was happening. And I saw, like, I would see a lot of people that I went to school with, either undergrad or medical school, that I would walk past and see, which was great. But also seeing my patients, and I lived there, I worked there, I played there. And especially with around social determinants of health, if I'm living in this community and my patients living in the same community, like I think it means so much more, to like live and breathe in the same air and be around each other. Like I just feel like it's like even a greater responsibility, in order to help change, the landscape of the community for the better. So I feel the same way, here in South Florida. I think it's just, I'm wading back into it. But I'm really excited to really learn the community more and see the resources that are here and see how I can help out. I mean, I already like people, contact me like I've done like I'm not a part of a sorority, but like some of the sororities have contacted me. I've done different talks, and when I go out, like I meet people and like different health fairs I've been involved in, and it's been nice. It's been really good to, especially being like a person of color, a woman. Um, I did career day for my child's school, and like people seeing like, oh wow, like black woman Harvard trained physician, who's like works in the community. How awesome. So I feel like I'm proud of that, and I feel like, it's something that, I don't take lightly. I feel like I have a responsibility, but I don't feel overwhelmed by it. I feel like it's just a natural part of what I'm here on this earth to do. I love when patients come in and, in the age of internet and social media, you can find anyone. So people will like search my name beforehand, Google me, and then be like, are you a singer? I saw your song. That was amazing, So it's great. Like I actually have, people, it's been like a conversation piece for a lot of folks. And has even inspired some people to like tell me that they have a passion for either singing, or they have a passion of, whatever their interest is, and that it is motivational and inspirational for them to see that someone is actually pursuing their passion as well. And, that there's so many different parts of us, that can be explored, while we're here on this earth. So I see it as fun, like a fun and also another way to share my message. Because one thing that I was always concerned about when I was choosing a career as a doctor, I always felt concerned that my role would be just restricted to an exam room. And I never wanted that. I always thought bigger, like even if I was going to be a family doctor, right? Because I wanted to have like the ability to like touch every person, but I still wanted to touch a whole population. Like I still want to impact the world. And what is a way in which I can do that? And I feel like my music allows me to like touch hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people if I get to that level. And my position as people take an interest of me as a musician, physician, activist, like that's what I call myself, musician, physician, activist. Um, I think it even allows further because it's like, who is that doctor who's singing about that? So I think it's cool. It's fun, it's different, and it's me. Medical school, I was very involved in the community. Like I did a lot of community work in Roxbury and Mattapan. I created a program while I was there around media and using media responsibly, and thinking about different representations in media and how that affects youth and the perception of themselves and how that impacts violence. That was actually one of the things that I did. Um, so I did the Schweitzer Fellows program. I don't know if anyone has heard of that, but if you haven't, you should look into it. It was a great program. I felt like it helped to ground me a lot because I've always been interested in community aspects, and I couldn't imagine being in medical school or any type of school and not continuing with that. And that really helped to focus me so that I could read my books and do all the other stuff and understand like why I was doing it. And then in residency, I mentioned I was really involved in the community there. And then towards the end of residency, I got involved in the New York State Academy. So I started attending different residence meetings and helping with the development of different policies in order to help, at the state level, population health. My message to the first years would be sit with yourself and really understand why you are where you are right now. Why are you in your seat? What motivated you? Who inspired you? What um, what message do you hear in your heart and your soul that you can write down or just like put a pin in it so that things get hard or you're having to make a decision, that you can go back to that because it's authentically your purpose and mission. And that was something that I feel very blessed that, in the creation of my personal statement, it was really like it was me. And so even like now and then every couple of years, like every 5 years or so, I go back to that personal statement and see how it how true am I being to my mission. Um and so yes, in medical school you will be exposed to so many different people, so many different possibilities. And some things seem to get more praise than others during the 4 year journey. But remember, life is happens way beyond the 4 years. And so it's important to do what really calls you. Because I remember at the end, a lot of people were getting kind of confused, whether it's money or like a feeling of like particular status. But I can tell you, every family physician I know is doing pretty well, and pretty well more than just financial, but pretty well feeling that they're really impacting and making a difference as well.